Hey, ladies, gentlemen, and transgenders, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Slothcast, a Heroes of the Storm podcast for small and tall from spring to fall. I am Narsha, your friendly neighborhood Latino, and just this week I learned that golfers always have two pair of pants in case they get a hole in one. This week, we're taking a look back at last week's mid-season brawl at DreamHack to learn what worked, what didn't, and what kind of cheats we can bring into our games. But first, you may think that I'm alone. Oh, no. Even with the best amateur players in Europe busy with the Heroes Lounge Season 3 playoffs this weekend, we have gathered an expert panel to share of their knowledge. And first, I want to welcome friend of the show and viewer favorite, Bread Bucket, the man that proves you can't write kitchen without Chen. How are you, my British friend?
Yeah, I'm alright. Spent the last couple days going full Chen roleplay. Been heavy drinking, but I've recovered quick enough to be on this podcast, so hopefully I'm awake and sane enough to speak through it. Yeah, thanks.
We'll take you as you are. I have to ask you, as a Division 1 player and been like playing in some of the top teams through the seasons, is it a bit bitter watching the rest of the Division 1 players battling it out in the playoffs without you?
No, they deserve it. Oh shit. No, I'm happy for them. They're good. They deserve it, and it's really good quality games to get at the top. And I think it's better for everyone that I'm not actually in it.
Oh, so humble. Have you found a team for the new season yet?
Well, yeah.
I heard some rumors.
Give or take, we'll see. We've got a couple weeks left. I'll keep the suspense going.
All you watch listeners just have to wait and see. Next up is a man I was looking forward to calling a dear friend, as I recently joined Team Solid, where this man used to play support, but he left the team as I joined. Not sure how random that is. So now, welcome to my arch nemesis, Sardonic.
No comment. You definitely wasn't the reason I left, of course. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. We are going to talk a lot about DreamHack today. The mid-season brawl that was there, and just to get that out of the way right away, we were there together, weren't we?
Yep, and I'm still a little bit ill from it, so totally worth it though.
Yeah, most of us got ill from after the DreamHack trip, but
yeah,
you Sardonic, you were patient zero.
Yeah, maybe my fault. I'm sorry.
Did you have a good time with living in the Heroes Lounge house, seeing all the games live?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really good to see everyone and to be able to watch the games live. And I'm at Bakery, so couldn't get any better, really, apart from Dig Lost. But there we go.
Yeah, we have a lot of, just going to mention that quick, we have a lot of VODs and stuff like that, and a lot of interviews, but I'm going to get to that later. Like VODs and pictures and a lot of stuff from the trip. It's all going to be uploaded as soon as Dontry is done being drunk, and so it's going to be handled soon. Look forward to that. If anyone ever has the chance to go to a live tournament like this to watch Heroes of the Storm being played live, I would really recommend it. I've watched, like, I'm really into like sports, like soccer, football and stuff, and I've seen it all, and nothing has ever got me so hyped as watching the Global Championships live. But of course, we can't forget the man with so many Slothcast appearances. He now can't walk safely in the streets because of crazy fans. Master player and Sardonic's new teammate. Welcome back, Rooney.
Yeah, I was one of the poachers of Sardonic. Sorry about that, Narsha.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be friends.
Are we supposed to be friends?
Are we though?
Are we? No, but yeah, I've been having a good amount of time. Whole last season of our Heroes of the Storm adventures on Heroes Lounge. I've been playing a lot of ranged assassins, that kind of stuff, trying to relearn it from moving from tanks, and I've been deported to Greymane forever by my captain. So yeah, having a fun time.
you done with school soon? I've seen to like you've been always like studying and reading for exams lately.
Yeah, like I still have like 2 practical assignments left, and then I can just go full ham on Heroes of the Storm. Seems good.
Yeah, baby. Full ham is the way to go. Aim for the core, faces the place.
Hell yeah.
We're going to go into some of the more interesting takings from the latest Heroes Global Championship in a sec. And spoiler warning, Europe won. We're going to be right back. Yes, you heard correct. For the first time ever, Europe is without argument the best region in the world, with Fnatic taking home the trophy on their home turf of Sweden. For 2 years, the Korean overlords have won every international championship, so it was about damn time. But not only were they overtaken, the grand final had 2 European teams. So Sardonic, you saw all the teams play live. Are the other regions slacking, or are Europe just that good?
Europe have definitely improved, but I think the Korean teams looked a bit off, and they've got people retiring, they've got roster swaps coming up, and was it L5 who said they hadn't really practiced much with their current roster? And was it MVP? I can't remember, one of them. And I just think they looked a bit out of practice and not really focused as much as they probably would have been.
Yeah, we're also going to kind of get into that a bit later regarding 20, but you just have to mention that specifically as Korea's mechanics are as good as always, but they didn't seem as prepared for this tournament as they have kind of been in the past. The first game they played against Roll20, they just let them have Medivh Diablo on Turbo the Spider Queen, and everyone that has paid a little bit of attention to the HGC North America scene know that those heroes are like huge comfort picks for them, and it really backfired with MVP with the Roll20 winning the game with 22-0 in kills, and
yeah, that was just like, it seemed like Korea just completely disregarded NA, which honestly, from the position speaking where they were last year, that was perfectly okay. But they didn't come as prepared as Sardonic said, and they just also gave Roll20 just their absolute best team comp they could have had. Like, that team comp they have practiced over and over and over again, and they just suddenly, oh wait, these guys have actually played this. Oh god, what do we do now? And then panic happened.
Yeah, MVP came out and said they didn't prepare for anyone apart from Fnatic. Like, they didn't even research, they did nothing. So it wasn't a huge surprise that Roll20 took a game, but it was a surprise how dominant that game was, I think.
It's kind of surprising too, like because like they've been so good for so long, and yeah, okay, we see some players going over to different games, doing like retiring, going back to school, but like Meriday did after this tournament. This was his last ever tournament. There's a legendary support player for MVP Black, but still, like I would just assume they were more ambitious than this. Like I'm not sure if they just like didn't care as much anymore, or if they just assumed they were still going to steamroll most teams like they usually do.
It just sort of felt like a mixture of everything. Like the way they approached most drafts, it seemed like they just thought they were going to steamroll just because they had better mechanics. And normally when you see Koreans or like Asian teams going to tournaments, they always have these particular heroes that they always bring out. Like before, when they always played Tyrael, because they were like one of the best in the world at playing Tyrael, and they could carry really hard with it. But they just sort of came into this tournament just playing the pre-existing meta, not really trying to reinvent anything, other than probably, I don't know, Chen picks. But I don't think they were specifically Asian. Everyone seemed to pick them up. So it doesn't look too great over in the Asian region right now.
Yeah, like you mentioned the Asian regions, like it's not only Korea. China has usually also been a source of some pretty good teams. And unfortunately, CE, the best Chinese team, couldn't attend because of visa issues, like that I feel happens every year. So like, start preparing for it, goddammit. Like, I don't know if it's up to Bliss or ESR is just a Chinese government, but something is obviously not up to standards there. But EStar had a pretty good showing.
Yeah, Smork incarnate.
Smork and Hyper Kalevala.
Like, Xingxi is amazing, mechanically speaking. Like, holy moly, that guy, he never misses a button, really. Like, it's insane. But they also seemed just sort of a one-trick pony. Like, they had amazing mechanics, but that's kind of where it ended. Like, they are really good at exploiting the fact that they are really good at mechanics, but at some point you're just gonna run into a wall, especially if teams are prepared for you. And that's kind of what happened, really. Like, we saw them taking a 4v5 and just basically ruffle stomping, but then teams are prepared for them and they stop. They can't go into that 4v5 anymore, and then they get hampered a lot.
Yeah, I remember I took a picture with Xingxi actually, just in hopes that some of the Vala skills were going to rub over, but yeah. We'll see when the season starts, I guess. But they had a really good showing in the group stages, the round robin, where every team the teams were divided in 2 groups with 8 teams in each group. Everyone in the group played each other once in a best of 2, which may sound weird, but if you won both games, you get 3 points. If you split the maps 1-1, you get 1 point. And eStar Gaming won their group in front of Team Dignitas, in front of L5 and Tempo Storm from North America. They beat them all, like with 11 points, and which made sure they went through to the winners bracket as the highest seed. So I can understand people had like expectations for them, but then again, moving into the playoffs, they met Fnatic in the winners bracket in round 1. Lost, of course, and then got bumped into the losers bracket where they met L5, and that didn't go too well for them, unfortunately. But they had a decent showing, unlike the other Chinese team, SPT.
Yeah, that was a bit of a. I vividly remember some kind of Leoric, not picking Entomb, thinking. Yeah.
They were missing their main tank shot caller and drafter though because of visa issues again, so it was a bit unfortunate with that. And
does that still make you not pick Entomb though?
It was their sub won the Leoric, was it? I think
yeah.
It was
I think so.
But
and it has to be mentioned that sub is like as Saronic mentioned, they couldn't get their like captain and the brains behind the team into the tournament because of visa issues. So the one that subbed in is actually the owner of the team.
Oh,
is he? I only heard that he was a sub and played with them occasionally.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
Owner.
Yeah, that's the story I heard. I'm pretty sure it makes sense too. Like Simba, I think it was called. That guy, he's supposedly the owner of the team, and he subbed in because they needed a player. And like he was like, I've rarely seen a team play with like such an obvious weak link. Like maybe last season's HGC NA with Kenma in Aventic, but like it was to that standard. Like,
and when it's your tank player, it just stands out so much more.
Yeah, it's so
like,
noticeable.
Yeah, but I think they could have got their player in for the finals if they'd made it through the group stages, but unfortunately they didn't. It'd be nice to have a tournament where China is actually allowed to show up and play full strength, but whether that'll actually happen, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. They used to be good, and they're probably still good. Like CE, it's a really huge shame that we didn't get to see them play. But I guess that's how it is. How about the smaller regions? Anyone see anything special from those?
No, Mia.
No, Mia, baby.
They're in my heart.
my soul.
Yeah. As soon as I saw them pick that diva, was it like the first or second game? I was like, this team's going straight into my heart.
Well, you can win. You can win it all, but you can never win everyone's hearts.
Yeah, it was. It's always kind of fun to see them play. I also like the team. They know me. We talked to Fat94. We had an interview with him. Again, getting back to that later, and he just enjoyed being there. Of course, they knew they were gonna go half around the world and not to win, but they still go. They do their best, and they a lot of the time has some pretty interesting takes to the game. They had a couple of decent games in the playoffs too, if I don't remember terribly. They did make it through at least at fourth in the group, but they had a really strong group in MVP Black and Fnatic and Roll20 Esports. Apart from that, Deadly Kittens, I didn't see much to. Unfortunately, Red Canids, the team from Brazil, didn't do too good, and which is unfortunate. I would have liked to share on my Latino brothers, but that was not to be. Yeah, you didn't. I'm not sure how well of an impression you got from the other teams, the Deadly Kittens, Soul Torturers, those guys.
Yeah, I saw them for a bit, but not something that I was hugely. Oh wait, that's pretty cool that they tried that. Not really.
Yeah.
I feel like if you told me to name all the teams that were in the mid-season brawl, this morning before I even got my senses together, I would not have remembered them.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't make much of a lasting impression. There was something I was looking for. I found it here. The players that had the smallest hero pool, because I was looking for Simba, that guy that subbed for SPT. He, of course, had the smallest hero pool with 3, but he was actually joined by both Bakery and June support players that only played 3 different heroes throughout the tournament.
That's not a massive surprise given the support meta at the moment, which I have issues with.
Yeah, support meta overall, Sardonic can obviously can probably tell this much better, but it's basically just Blizzard giving one support a little bit of making one support a lot stronger than all others basically, and you have at most 3 really in the meta at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Yeah, we're also going to get back to the meta discussion after the break, but this tournament also included pre-nerf Malfurion, and now he's shit, and the support still only had 3 heroes to choose from. Even Bakery, being a grand finalist, played a lot of games, only played 3 different supports. We needed to just go towards NA, because LoL NA, all that stuff, it's a great meme, and of course they didn't look too well, but sorry about that. We already mentioned Roll20. They took in total 2 maps off of MVP Black, and I'm not sure how many expected that on beforehand. Any of you guys impressed with them?
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed. I've read an article before on Glauren's shot calling. When Dyrus was actually subbing in, or at least being there on, and they streamed their plays, their scrims. I was really impressed with Glauren's shot calling. It's really clear what he's doing. He really is the brains behind everything Roll20 does. He is such a skillful player. I've tried my hand at shot calling before, and when I play micro-intensive characters like Zeratul, Vala, or most importantly Medivh, I really just kind of stop calling things because I'm so focused on actually doing my job as a player in the team. And then Glowing does that really well, playing Medivh, that kind of mechanically intensive characters, and then still is able to shot call really well. props to him.
Yeah, definitely. I also checked out those scrims that were streamed, and it's insane how much in detail he goes with everything. Like, you go there, you move there. This is how we do this, and then we do that. And like, in addition that, he plays Medivh and Zeratul a lot, which are decently intensive heroes to play. So they are looking good. They are probably the hope of NA, don't you think, Bread Buckets?
I think Tempo Storm are still pretty good. I wouldn't discount them. I wouldn't say Roll20 are by far and above everyone else.
Oh. They did win like 3-1 in the losers brackets in the playoffs against Tempo Storm.
I think Roll20 are going to be better this current season after the roster swap as well. They just seem to be improving at a better rate, whereas Tempo have been good, but they haven't really improved over the last 6 months. I think.
I still think they're more consistent, and in the HGC format, they'll probably still finish higher, just because Roll20 gets sloppy from time to time. But in a tournament setting, I would say Roll20 are better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Roll20 are more momentum-based team as well, maybe. And then, I think in tournament setting they'll be better. We'll see. We'll see how Goku fits in.
Overall, I kind of hope that NA is going to be looking into improving more. Like, there have been like a few like last night there were a few HCC games, and honestly they didn't really look so pretty from NA. Like, I'm kind of hoping, like a friend of mine is also of this opinion, in that Roll20 should really just absolutely MVP Black-esque just stomp all the NA teams into the ground, hoping that some team will step up and try to challenge their reign.
Yeah, because like how much we enjoy the memes, it would be better for the scene overall to have a stronger NA region that have been for the last year, where they have just been like pretty much a huge clown fiesta. As we saw in yesterday's games, was it New Tomorrow versus Team Freedom? Where it was just like
those games are awful.
Yeah,
but
it was
it was just clown fiesta from both teams.
Yeah. How did GFE versus Noventic end, by the way?
I didn't watch. I think GFE won because I saw Big E post on Twitter that him and Tomster are role swapping.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my god.
And GFE have got 2 new players, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take them a while to get used to playing against with each other as well. So.
That being said, I watched a little bit about from it, and K1 Pro did not look very impressive for Tempo Storm, and Noventic just got iDream into the team. They moved Big Impact to support, and that was going to be like the lineup. Now we are 1 game into this HGC split, and they decide to role swap because it doesn't work. I'm not sure. It just smells of fiesta to me. Speaking of the format that we just touched on, how did you guys like it with the 2 groups, the round robin thing before going into the playoffs?
I loved it. You got to see teams play against every team in their group, and although some of the games didn't matter, most of them did, and it makes it much more important if you win 1 game, even if you, because in a best of 3, if you lose the set but win 1 game, it means nothing. Whereas this format, taking a single game means something, which I really liked.
I really enjoyed the group format at the start, just so you do get to see every team play. I wasn't too excited about the double elim. It might be fairer, but from like a spectator's point of view, it's not ideal. But you get more games, and I think that's better in general. But I would like to have more, after the group stage, each game have more importance. But that's just me being a purist for liking like the World Cup formats and stuff.
I think most of the players liked it. At least everyone we talked to, especially those from the minor regions like Red Canet and Nomia. they come across the half of the world, and they would like to play some more games while they're here. And with this format, they actually get to do that instead of just playing a couple, get booted out, and have to go home. We have to move on, but just a real quick question. I want yes and no from each and one of you, starting with Bread Bucket. Will Korea and North America teams now go to Europe for pre-BlizzCon prep like Dignitas went to Korea last year? Bread Bucket.
No.
Sardonic.
No.
And Rene.
No.
Why not? We're the
Can I
strongest
expand
region.
on my answer? I think they're all going to go to NA to practice because they
Yeah,
always go to like
for
the time zone they're moving to for like a week before.
Yeah, I get it for like the jet lag and stuff. I just remember Dignitas going to Korea for a week last year to prepare in the best region, because like I think so. We didn't even touch upon that, but I think much of the reason for Europe being so strong is because the European HGC league is so strong. There's so many good teams in the league. And the overall level is really high. And inside information, Playing Ducks, which is a mid-tier team at max in the last split of the HGC in Europe, played Tempo Storm in scrims before the mid-season brawl, and I think they went, was it 9-2 or 11-2, where they like won 11, I think it was 11 games and lost 2 of the games, and those 2 games were throws according to someone that played in them. So yeah,
but like the reason I think Koreans won't go to Europe to train is because honestly they care a lot about FaZe, in that they don't want to be dependent on others. They really just want to be the best. They're really, really competitive very often. Like almost the same with NA. They don't see it as they often don't see it as if, oh, that region is just much better and we really should look to learn as much as possible from it. Very often they want to do it themselves.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. But of course, yeah, if I was an NA coach, I would get my ass and the team over to Europe for a boot camp any day of the week. Like, they're probably gonna could learn a lot from that. But before that, we have the Western Brawl and the Eastern Brawl, and then BlizzCon in many months. So we're gonna have a lot of HGC to look forward to. I'm not gonna go too much into this weekend's results, as HGC has already started up again, because we still have to take a look at the meta that formed during the tournament, and we'll do so after a quick break. So we'll be right back. Hello, once again, long time no see. We are in the middle of our big post-mid-season brawl episode, and normally during a tournament, the meta evolves with it, and we're gonna go over some of the things that we may learn from. First, there's like a thing that just strikes me right out the bat, looking at some stats here. There were 3 heroes that were always picked, at least almost always. Uther had a 98% involvement rate, with Anubarak and Genji having 97. That's a lot.
Yeah, like like Genji just has a really, really, really flexible kit for a ranged assassin. Like that kind of mobility is just bad shit. Like, and if you combine it with actually having a short duration invulnerable, if it's not hit by CC, that is, it's just really useful overall. Meanwhile, Anubarak, Anubarak, really strong kit too. Like both of those heroes have a really strong kit. Looking back into Genji, like. I'm actually surprised that Dragon Blade was picked so often, with X-Strike actually not being picked that often.
There are a lot of ways to invulnerable yourself or protect yourself from X strike, though, majority of cases, or get out of it. And with Uther existing, you just Divine Shield Genji and Dragon Blade is just insane. I just think it's crazy how Genji has poke damage, burst damage, hypermobility, and he can, like, he's almost like a pseudo global on most maps just because of how mobile he is. So the only real weakness he has is no wave clear, but that's made up for the fact that he's kind of like a global and can just move around the map and take out people that are trying to split push. It's just crazy. Oh, and protection. Yeah, that's fun as well.
At least he can be stunned out of it. Unlike Barry.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. That's something at least. But yeah, Genji has been proved to be really high impactful. I wasn't sure when he was released if it was going to be really that strong. I remember a lot of teams played him in the first week he was available in the HCC, but that was in the last week of the season, so like it could be like just for fun. But yeah, like 97% involvement rate. It says everything. But of course, the king of the tournament was Uther with that 98% involvement rate. And I remember back to like episode 2 or something, we talked a lot about new Uther and how it was going to work out. We talked both with Smexy and Curson from Team Fnatic and Team Expert. And both of them wasn't sure if we were going to see so much of him in competitive, but yeah, 98%.
Honestly, yeah, Sardonic. Yep.
It's basically one talent.
Mhm.
Like,
Level 7?
yeah, I think if Guardian of Ancient Kings, if that gets nerfed, I don't know what you'd have to nerf it to make it balanced, and then maybe he wouldn't be so high a pick rate, but then Mouth's lost Cleanse. So he's still going to be a high pick rate regardless, because his other version of Cleanse is still really good.
Yeah, because that has to be mentioned. These numbers are from a tournament where Malf was still good. Like, he's been nerfed recently, and he's not like a strong solo support anymore as he used to be. But yeah, this was still with Malf being good, and still Uther was so high prioritized. So he was first picked 29 times, first banned 24 times, second banned 17 times, and yeah, he's just by far the most involved support. How does like the support meta look like from here with the second strongest support in this tournament, Malfurion now being kind of out of the game? Maybe Sardonic or
I just wanted to say that Mouth being good in this tournament made Uther better. So he was higher priority because like Twilight Dream and Roots is one of the main reasons Mouth is so strong. And Uther is just denies all the advantage a team can get from using those two abilities. So maybe with Mouth being less prioritized, Uther might come down a bit.
Nerfs coming as well, then maybe there's less. Well, tanks a lot of stuns, but we'll see.
Yeah. But also, because there's heroes with reset potential, which is going on, like Genji, Greymane, Li Ming, Uther's still going to be involved anyway, because he both denies that potential type of team comp and enables it. So there's still going to be that going around.
Yeah, and with players like, or with heroes like Greymane being really popular, where he just works so good with Divine Shield. Genji too with the Dragon Blade, as mentioned, it can be really disgusting.
Yeah, like Greymane being really good, like he has such a high involvement rating too. Like Greymane synergizes really well with CC and Uther. Like Divine Shield is pretty freaking good with Greymane. Like just going full on ham, just not getting CC'd, because Greymane in Warren form just does so much damage. and he's just really safe because he has much higher HP than like Vala or something, while still having a really large amount of damage, like Vala. And he gets armor when he goes into Worgen form.
Mm.
And it also stacks with Uther, really. Because if you have a Greymane in Worgen form and he just gets healed by Uther, just regular ult, then that still stacks. So he still has double up armor. And that's amazing.
Also interesting is like not only were these three heroes picked like a lot, they also had a really good win rate like overall. So it was obviously not just comfort picks. They are obviously really strong zero, getting all that high win rates. We're gonna mention that in a little while, but we also have to go over to one of Bread Bucket's absolute favorite heroes that we saw a surprisingly maybe a big amount of. Did you appreciate all the Chen that was played in the mid-season brawler Bread Bucket?
Honestly, most of the time, I just thought it was bad drafting, to be honest, at the start, when people just weren't expecting it. Because there are still a lot of heroes in the game that can stop Chen from drinking that isn't a stun silence. Yeah, isn't a stun silence, so you can still displace him. And most of the time, people just ignored that. Like, there was that Fnatic game where they went, like, what was it? Leoric, Monk, Li Ming, Li Ming, Tyrael, Genji, they only had way with force to stop him, and Chen just soloed their whole team. And that's just an oversight on Fnatic's part. And the only time I think he was properly utilized was a few times by MVP Black and by Fnatic against Dignitas, when they just used him as Sylvanas, basically, to just disable buildings.
Because I want to touch upon that. Like, Chen is the hero from the tournament with the highest win rate. He was played in 11 matches, and he just won 10 out of them. So it's just, Chen, easy game. Chen OP, nerf. But as far as I could see, there were kind of two reasons for the Chen working. Two maybe separate reasons. Either you picked Uther first. You had the first pick, you pick Uther. Because if you pick Uther, the enemy team try to not pick as much stuns, since that will just enable Uther's level 7 talent more. I saw it happen multiple drafts where the enemy or the other team, they just didn't pick stuns at all. And then you pick the Chen, and then you are free to drink as much as you want, pretty much. Like Red Bucket kind of was mentioning, but he also touched upon the cheese, which is the second reason I think Chen worked here. As you mentioned, as a Sylvanas with that Fnatic dig game. It was the last game in the winners bracket final. How much was it on the clock when Fnatic got Dignitas core to 1%?
Pretty freaking early.
Like minutes 10-ish?
Yeah, 10-ish, something
I think
like
it was
that.
earlier than that, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it was. Like, I think you could have gone, like, brewed some water, go make some tea, come back, and the game was almost done. That's how quick it was.
Yeah, so what do you think about the Chen cheese?
Well, it was good. It was like a legitimately good strat. Like, how many, if you want to do that comp, other than maybe a new Brack, or maybe you can do it with Artanis or Zarya, that'll work. Unless they already had Zarya. I can't remember their exact team comp. But it just fit perfectly for what they wanted to do. It's nothing other than amazing drafting by Fnatic.
Talking about the counter, like, you know what would have absolutely meant the Chen though? Artanis. Like, if they would have somehow sneaked in Artanis in that draft and just pulled him really far into the fort when he's drinking, that could have grieved it. But honestly, it seems like a very good meme. This good old stinky cheese is working mighty fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say then you have to play Artanis, but Artanis, yeah, okay. He was only played in 7 games, but he won 4 out of those games. So
Was most of that E-Star though? Was it E-Star picking him?
yeah, was either on BOE or something?
Yeah, I think E-Star picked him quite a bit.
Yeah.
It fits their personality as a team, honestly. Like, just swap in, make sure you're in the middle of them, and then just completely outbid them and smork.
I just want to point out that I think one of the other main reasons that Chen was always picked, and this goes to the same as Stitches, is that there was a lot of double support at which it's really hard, like same with like Illidan as well. It's hard to kill an Illidan or Chen when you've got a double support, and Stitches is really good against double support as well. And there's the lack of ability burst damage in the game now, because mostly Genji, Greymane type comps or Vala, which punish those heroes. And what was the last one? Oh yeah, lack of Giant Killer as well. We've got Curse Bullet. Leoric is here or there, depending on which team's playing them. And Tychus is barely non-existent. From, I think, like, Dig might have picked him a couple times. So it's like just the perfect environment for those type of heroes to thrive.
Takis was played actually 23 games. That was more than I expected.
Well, I didn't see all the games, so don't hold me to anything I say.
Well, but I was also kind of not remembering he being played a lot. But yeah,
Tychus wasn't used for his consistent percentage damage, though. Like, he's almost always used for the bigger they are at level 4, where you just where you kind of use him like a semi Greymane Silver Bullet from level 4 onwards, and then you use Odin to zone and siege. Like, it was that's basically the 2 reasons why you picked Tychus, really, besides having like wave clear and that kind of shenanigans, and because he just didn't instantly kill himself by having a Genji jump on top of him, like what happens with Vala very often.
I just saw something semi-interesting. Anyone want to guess how many games the Lost Vikings was played?
2.
Almost 1. We have
It's
a
just
winner.
1. Okay.
And how many games did they win?
None.
It's not too surprising though. Like, with the amount of Leeming, Genji, Greymane that was out there, they don't really.
Hacker as well.
And
Dahaka,
they don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
I was expecting them to come out a bit more because of the amount of Abatha that was about. I'm not sure how many of the other teams can actually play Vikings well, but it's a bit of a liability nowadays to pick Vikings.
Yeah,
I was expecting. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Just going to mention that the Dahaka with an 88% involvement rate. He was played a lot.
Yeah, Race Car Lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dahaka
Really
is
good.
Yeah, I was expecting Abatha to be fairly highly involved in the tournament, but not as much as he was. Like, getting first banned a lot with Dig and a few other teams, especially on BOE as well. I know he's good on BOE, but he's never traditionally been played there. But a lot of teams are running kind of a pseudo global on that map now, just to side soak constantly.
It's
Like-
it's one of the main things with 2 lane maps. The more XP you can get early game, the stronger it is. It's just how they're designed, because there's less XP going about.
Avatar was played out fairly. He was banned 33 times, the 3rd most banned hero out of all the heroes, and the most picked specialist, if you want to go by Blizzard's organizing of the characters.
Yeah, at one point he had a 90-something% win rate going into like the middle of the final rounds, and then I think it reduced down to like 60-something by the end, but it's still a very high win rate.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Yeah, his win rate was pretty high.
Stitches was a thing, also.
This was definitely a thing. And just to move into that, we haven't seen much of these Stitches like in a long, long while. And then the last Western Brawl happened, Fnatic versus Dig in the finals, huge thing. How are Dig going to win this? Fnatic looks like the better team. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, JPL, like, okay, by the way, I've been like only playing Stitches in secret for like the last 10,000 hours. So it starts landing these god hooks and just turns out the game. And then we get to the mid-season brawl and everyone is playing Stitches.
Like, I think the whole thing with Stitches is this has to do with a couple of things. Like, first of all, tanks, like tank meta also just got hit a lot. Like, Muradin isn't that prevalent as he should be, I think. Like, Muradin has got a bit meh, and ETC is just down the race somewhere far over there. And also one of the reasons why Stitches is pretty freaking popular in the mid-season brawl was because actually killing one single target, like the actual blow-up comes and the like really weren't that prevalent, like because of Uther and that kind of shenanigans. And that's also why Avatar was really picked often, because there were no real blow-up comps that just instantly make it a 5v3. And that would make it really hard for Avatar comps to work. And if you have such a fat asshole like Stitches, basically, that just doesn't ever freaking die, you can get a lot of Avatar value or just blow people up.
Yeah, I think a big part of it, he's had enough small buffs over the last few months without really anyone noticing properly that you can now run full slam build without having to take defensive talents as well, which does help a lot.
Yeah, and still have very good sustain.
The thing I want to point out about Stitches is that with lots of double support comps about, Stitches is the best hero in the game to deal with double support, because double support comps want to fight you. That's their whole thing. They just want to have 5v5 fights, and Stitches makes it just so you can pick people off. And outside of that, like with the buffs, he's a tank with good wave clear, really good wave clear, and there's not that many out there. So if you have a Stitches, then you can afford to go these, Zarya, Tass, Vala with triple shield comps that can just sort of roam, do what they want, and Stitches can like enable quick wave clear to go around with them as well. And he just does a lot of damage. He's hard to kill. There's not that many heroes that can take him out really easily. And like Rooney said, the other tanks just aren't not fit for this meta. Like Muradin thrives at jumping into the enemy's backline, getting his armor, and slamming down, getting those heals. If you do that, your backline's just going to die to Genji, Greymane, Li Ming. And the only other tank that can deal with that sort of thing is probably Tyrael with Sanct, but it's just better to just ignore that sort of team fight and just pick people off.
We just have to go into that, since we mentioned the comps a couple of times here, like how they were built. Because I also had the impression that we saw the double support like all the time. This was played like super much. It was played like it was the second most popular comp in the tournament, but it was only played 33 times, while the 2 assassin, 1 support, and double warrior comp was played 86 times. So it's obviously still the most impactful way to build your comp. So far that hasn't quite changed, but maybe some of the reason we just noticed the double support much more is how they let the Vala shine so much. Like we played it in Team League and stuff, and Tassadar, Oriole with Vala, it's just you can do whatever you want and just win the game.
It's pretty decent. Like also I just want to note, like people with mechanics like Sinji sometimes just make double support happen because they're just that good with hitting their buttons. And like if they never die on such a high damage hero, you have to have a really good answer to actually turn fights around.
I also want to point out that most of the time when the team went double support, the other team got Dahaka, and
A
So
good way
that-
to counter double support is globals and
Yeah.
wave clear, and you just out macro them. And because the hacker is so good at the moment,
Yeah.
it
That
kind of
was
counters it
that
naturally.
was the majority of the double warrior comps I can bet. Just a Dahaka and a noob, Dahaka and Stitches. Yeah.
What I really noticed is that Braxis was banned really often.
Oh yeah.
Braxis Holdout was banned really. I personally like Braxis a lot because Zarya, much love, just run people down. And like Braxis is like one of those maps where you just run double support and just go continuously 4v4 team fights and just butt heads until one team just breaks. The pros didn't really like that, I think, because then you will have just the team that will get double support will very often win then, honestly. Or do you not agree with that, Brad?
I think Braxis is just too hard to draft right now, and teams just avoid it because they just don't want to deal with it. Because like Genji, incredible. Like I think if you get a Genji, you can win the game. If you get a Dahaka, I think he can solo win the game on Braxis. Same with probably get Falstad in the right situation. Double support, also super good, super strong. And it's just a combination of all these things together. I think it's too difficult to draft and teams just avoid it.
Dig
Say-
also ban
yeah.
it every single time they
Yeah.
play, so that will count for probably most of the bans
Yeah.
and why you didn't see it as much because
I
they just
think
can't play that map.
Yeah, I think it's similar with like Warhead. It's like most teams just don't prepare for Warhead, and they're just like,
Mm.
we might be good on it. We don't know.
Who knows?
I'm just not going to prepare for it. You just ban it out.
Yeah, just to go over the stats really quickly, we did see Braxis Holdout being banned out 13 times. Same with Cursed Hollow, also banned 13 times. While you mentioned Warhead Junction was banned 16 times. That's the most unpopular map in the tournament.
Yeah, I think Warhead favors teams that like heroes like Genji, Tracer, Illidan, Tyrael, and if you want to play against a comp like that, go ahead. You can pick Warhead, but that's not something anybody wants to play against. Very few teams can play those heroes as well.
One thing that I see here from the stats, Braxis Holdout, it was played 5 times, banned out 13 times. And in all of those 5 games, the first pick in draft won the game.
What was the general first pick, first ban?
For
Braxis.
what for Braxis in itself?
Top first pick, Genji. What a surprise!
Oh, thinking. Yeah, Genji on Braxis is a good meme. Like not only because of the boss. Like if he deflects the boss, he basically takes out 25% HP of the boss, or basically insta kills an enemy hero that's close to him. But he can also just instantly rotate, basically. He just jumps over the wall, dashes over the other wall, and he's there. Whoa, big magic. And sometimes he kills people. He just rotates faster than global heroes due to that.
Yeah, it seems he was first banned 1 time, second banned 1 time, first picked 2 times out of those 5 plays, 5 Braxis Holdout maps we saw. So yeah.
Dahaka and Genji had a 100% win rate on Braxis.
Yeah.
We also saw a Nova on that map.
Oh
we
yeah.
don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't want to.
That game didn't count.
That never happened, people. Never happened. The Nova. On the other end of the scale, we had a couple of heroes with a terrible win rate. Of course, we saw like some heroes that just had the like an awful win rate, but they weren't played that much. But we have 2 heroes that was played a lot and had a terrible win rate. With Tyrael, 47 games. 47 games. He won 17 of them and lost 30 games.
That's pretty harsh. Like, Tyrael has historically always been a really good pick in tournaments because of the way he works, because of Holy Ground, because of Sanctification, because of Judgment. all kinds of memes you can just pull out with that character, and it's kind of like it. I almost think that the last batch of nerfs, as to say that his level 13 talent, how was it called again? Bread Buckets?
Imposing will.
Imposing Will. Yeah, was removed, which was a very important talent for Tyrael. I always think was a kind of big influence on it, really, but there has to be other reasons for it.
What's his win rate into Uther? Does anyone know?
Oh, I'm not a Master League specialist enough.
76% win rate Uther has against Tyrael.
Oh yeah, against Tyrael.
Yeah, because I was thinking, it must be so easy to just hold your stun for a Sanct.
Mm.
Yeah, because you can sit.
Yeah, you just babysit the Tyrael full team fight, and then you just stun him, can't Sanct, and you win the team fight.
Mm. Another hero that had a huge priority. She was played in 34 games and is obviously so OP that you decided to draft 2 supports around just to hypercarrier. Vala, my bae, 34 games, 13 wins, 21 losses.
Like Genji. Genji is a thing mostly. Like Vala is really squishy, and especially with Tassadar. Tassadar has been moved from a burst prevention hero to like a more sustained. Like the shields are small, don't last long now, but have a large amount of lifesteal. But if Vala is not able to get out even 1 or 2 auto attacks during that shield, it's not really doing much. And Genji just like basically evaporates her. If she ever drops below half without Genji's involvement, Genji dashes in, obliterates her, and is out again.
I think Vala just had a low win rate because bad teams played her.
That's also an option.
Like most of the time, it was like Nomia, Deadly Kittens, super perfect team. What was her win rate when played by a competent team? Wait. Here we go. L5, 8 matches, 75% win rate. Fnatic MVP Black played her twice and have a 50% win rate. Everybody else has like 0 or 33%.
Yeah.
I think it's an easier to execute comp, really, just double support and hypercarry Vala.
Yeah.
And they just thought it was safe, and they were wrong.
Yeah, I can get that. So Rune, what you're saying is that my team needs to draft me both Uther and Oriole to hypercarry my Vala.
And Tass.
And Tass. And Medivh.
I'll just frontline Vala up. That should definitely help. Like, just go full melee Vala. Like, if you're that close, you're obviously going to dodge every skill shield, right?
Obviously. Who doesn't?
But yeah, kidding aside, I think Uther right now is doing more like the old Tassadar's job that Tassadar is doing right now in burst prevention. Like, Uther just basically giving someone 75% armor is pretty good to save the hyper carry usually, or divine shield.
We will be spending a lot of time here now to kind of round the meta discussion off. How long has it been since Zarya was released now, Rune?
Yeah, like
I'm just wondering. It's about a year. Okay, so for about a year, you have been going on how OP she is, and you won't stop. But this tournament, she was picked 6 times, banned 0, and of those 6 times she was picked, she won 1 game. What's up with Zarya?
She got absolutely dumpstered this mid-season brawl. But to be honest, the meta right now just doesn't favor Zarya at the moment. Like Zarya, like the bad teams see her as some sort of frontline, which she most definitely is not. And like Zarya has to be some kind of backline-ish hero, and right now the meta just basically dumpsters on low mobility backline heroes, which Zarya basically is. So she just gets run over and gets memed by Stitches, gets jumped on by Genji, just gets auto-attacked to death by a Worgen, Greymane, and there's nothing really she can do about it. Like, even Illidan just completely memes her, and there's just too many options you can go against the Zarya. You really have to win pre-10 with the Field Heat, Siege Zarya, otherwise it's just hard to do much with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting to look back at the meta now and how it evolved during the tournament. It's probably going to change now that we go into the next split of the HGC season, moving up to the next Western Brawl. And now that we already have some nerfs coming out and the Diva being started to be played, we've seen it already this weekend in HGC. So we're just gonna see how that moves along. Now again, we're gonna have a super short break, and then we'll be back with just some final words for this episode. See you in a very little bit. That was all we had time for this week, but if you haven't had enough of us, as mentioned, the Slothcast was at the DreamHack with the Heroes Lounge group, where we rented a house and catched all the action live. We also brought all our equipment and recorded a short episode from the Heroes Lounge house, which will be posted on our YouTube channel, so look out for that. But more important, we brought some gear with us to the venue and got some amazing interviews. We talked to all of the casters and analysts, except for like two of them, Gilly and Calaris, and some pro players. So if you want to see some charming interviews done by your favorite Latino Narsa, with people like Dreadnought, Fan, Kaldor, Grubby, and all the other casters, plus players like Quacknix, Bad Benny, Fat95, Fury, and many others, we're going to link the playlist in the description, as it will be hosted on the Heroes Lounge channel. And as a bonus, we even had a talk with absolute legend Mike Morheim. So look forward to that. Can admit I was giddy as a schoolgirl when I was talking to Mike. It was a pretty big deal. He's pretty much a legend. Sorry for that. Some of that DreamHack cough still in my throat. Bread Bucket, thanks a lot for showing up again.
Yeah, good to be back. Good that I managed to make it through the whole podcast. With I think I've drunk like 3 liters of water in the time we've done this, so I think I'm all right now. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good fun. Can never stop talking about heroes, really.
Yeah, that's how we like it. You got any exciting plans for the summer?
I just want to get through tonight, to be honest. Then get through tonight, go to work, and get back to normal. About it.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So Dominic, this may be kind of personal, but how did your first time feel? Like, I mean, as a guest on the Slothcast.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. Hopefully I can come back at some point soon. If you have another spot, I'll have to get a webcam next time.
Yeah, someone were supposed to buy a webcam on Friday, weren't they?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was actually coming on or not. Like, you asked and then you said maybe I was coming on, so I forgot anyway. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll fix that until next time. Thanks a lot for your contributions. I'm sure it was enjoyed as much by the listeners as it was by me. Rooney, our trusty executive producer and team league rigger. Hope you had another great time co-hosting the Slothcasts.
Yeah, give me sorry, baby. Yeah, I have a lot of fun being here again. I'm looking forward. I'm actually in the works. I have a complete and utter Zarya guide. I'm still writing the script for that, but at some point it should turn up here. I hope you guys will look forward to that.
Yeah, now that she's out of the meta.
Yeah. How to play Zarya today? Don't pick her. There's your guide.
Well, at least you got picked more than Asmodan, wasn't she, Bread Bucket?
That's different though. Asmodan's actually good.
Debatable.
We'll see. We'll see. I predicted Chen Stitches for mid-season brawl. Asmodan's next for HGC. There you go.
I'm looking forward to the new Asmodan meta. Quickly before we leave, the signups for Heroes Lounge Season 4 are up. So I suggest everyone that wants to have even more fun with the game and prove how good you are, head over to heroeslounge.gg and register right away. And if you're into the art of the clown, the mid-season pleb-offs will be happening this weekend on the Heroes Lounge Twitch channels. Also, we're still waiting for approval by iTunes, so the podcast can be enjoyed in audio form, and they'll hopefully get that done soon, but they've said that for quite a while now. So yeah, that was pretty much it for us this week. Thanks to everyone that watches, thanks to everyone that listens. Thanks a lot to Sembar, Dontru, and the production crew. A big shout out to the Heroes Lounge, and until next time, good luck and have feeds.
Right, bye-bye.
And timestamp. That was 1 minute and 5 minutes on my clock. No, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Welcome back, Sembar.